A five-man battle for the quarterback position? Is this really what's happening? I'll talk about it here today on Between Years. How are we doing, everybody? Scott Callan here with another episode of Between the Ears. And before we get started, make sure you like and smash that subscribe button here on our YouTube page at West Virginia on SI. And as always, too, a rundown of our show schedule for the upcoming season. Every Sunday, Tuesday, Wednesday, we'll be here with an episode of Between the Years. Every Thursday, the Walk Thru GameDay Show, previewing that week's game with former Mountaineer running back Eugene Napoleon, who will also be with me to recap the games Saturdays, or in some cases maybe a Friday like BYU, in the Mountaineer Postgame Show right here on our channel. So, head coach Rich Rodriguez had some interesting things to say on Monday in regards to the quarterbacks and the passing game, and we're going to talk about that here in just a second. But let's go ahead and listen in on one of the quotes that kind of really stuck out to me from Monday's press conference.
One thing that, to your point, all of our quarterbacks can really throw the ball. I mean, I know we're repping five guys. All five can really throw it. I've never had that many that can throw it that well. I mean, as far as arm strength goes and all that. So there's not really a pass play. I guess you could say this. There's not really a pass play that's out there, or a route package that is out there that we're like, well, we can't do that because we don't have the arm strength to make that throw. That's kind of a neat deal. Like, to have every quarterback for every route package can make every throw. So now we just got to see which ones we can be the most accurate with. So that's kind of a fun thing to have.
So do we have a five-man quarterback battle? Everyone out there is going to tell you, nope, it's only two guys. It's between Nicco Marchiol, it's Jaylen Henderson. And I've been saying for quite a while, like, we can all make these assumptions that it's going to be Nicco, or that you may feel like it's Jaylen Henderson. But the truth be told, like, this is a wide open competition. He told us on the In the Gun podcast that it was going to be a wide open competition. He's talked about it all off season long, whether that was in spring ball, summer interviews, Big 12 media day, early on here in the first couple of weeks of camp. And he means a wide open competition. There's five guys repping for this job here as we enter a new week. This is still very much a multi-guy competition. It's not just two guys here. I'm talking more than two, I should say. It's not just Nicco. It's not just Jaylen. Max Brown, the Charlotte transfer, he's in the mix. And yes, even the young guys, Khalil Wilkins and true freshman Scotty Fox Jr. So is this a matter of Rich Rod just saying it's a wide open competition, and he really in the back of his mind has two or three guys that are sticking out? I mean, yeah, well, maybe. But until those reps start getting cut down and the division of labor in practice is reworked, everyone's in the mix. So, no, there's not a starting quarterback already named. There's not one already in the head of Rich Rod. And when he does have that decision, he's not going to tell you. He's not going to tell me. He's not going to tell anybody except for the people that exist in that building at the Milan Puskar Center. But is there an actual possibility that one of these two young guys can emerge and be the guy? It's a very complicated question because in most instances, I would say absolutely not. And still, my end here with this is like, yes, those guys are probably going to be fourth and fifth on the depth chart, but until things start dwindling down, they're in the mix. They're in the mix until they are not. And I've been told by at least two people, and I guess it's not just to me. I mean, it's also been out there in press conferences as well. But I've also had two people tell me directly that, look, like, he is not looking at this as it's Nicco versus Jaylen. That's not the case whatsoever. He is waiting for one of these guys to go, hey, over here, I'm the guy, I'm the quarterback, I'm the starter. And until that moment happens, he's open to all possibilities. So again, it could get down to where it is those two guys, and it could come down to where Nicco wins the job. That's that's definitely possible. But if anyone is out there pounding the table saying, ignore everybody else, I know the answer. No, you don't. Nobody knows the answer. Even the head coach does not know right now. And it's not a gamesmanship thing. It's not him playing mind games with anybody. He truly does not know. I promise you this. So don't believe that this is an already decided battle. Now, back to the two youngsters, Khalil Wilkins, Scotty Fox. Scotty Fox is interesting. He really is. I loved his high school tape. I kind of figured it was going to be a while probably before he saw the field, but that was also when he had committed to Neil Brown. And I mean, let's just be real here. The development of quarterbacks in that previous regime was not, splendid. So I didn't have much high hopes that he was going to be, their first guy that they just brought in from high school, quickly got ready to go in game action, and was able to take a hold of the starting reins within 2 years. Like, I just didn't think that was possible. With this coaching staff, it's a little different. I don't think he's going to be the starter within the first 2 years, but I can't rule it out either. Now, this year, right? Like, he's probably going to be down the depth chart. He's got veterans in front of him. The competition though is still wide open. Until that changes, he's still considered to be in the mix. But when you have as many guys that you have in that room that have the experience that they have, that's invaluable. And you can't replace that. You can't teach it. You can't give it to anybody. So when you have that in your room, it's just natural to just go ahead and assume that a guy like Scotty is going to be QB4 or QB5. But the talent, I'm telling you, is there's something there. There is absolutely something there with Scotty Fox Jr. And I don't know what the situation is going to look like this year. Who's going to be the guy this year? Who's the guy this year may determine what happens in 26 at that position. They may not find an answer at quarterback this year. Or if they do, maybe it's a couple of guys. And maybe that's, not ideal. 26 brings new opportunities, and maybe he takes enough steps next year to firmly put himself in the mix. Or this year, right now, he's making plays, he's doing the right things, he's learning, but it's also that huge jump from high school to college. It's a brand new system. It's a new system for everybody, but for him, it's a whole new ball game. And that's not to knock his IQ or anything. The kid's incredibly smart. He's picking things up really well. So it's going to happen, I think, at some point in time for him. I just don't know, when that date's going to be. I can't nail that down. For Khalil Wilkins, I really think he's the wild card in this race. And I don't want to oversell that. So let me pump the brakes, and before I get you all excited and I get aggregated and everyone's saying that Skylar Callan got us, I think Khalil Wilkins has a chance to be the starting quarterback, and he might be number one or number two in the battle. Pump the brakes on that. But he is certainly worth paying some attention to. I feel personally, I haven't been told this, just kind of putting my notes and the clues together that are being thrown out there, that it probably will come down to Nicco versus Jaylen. That third spot, though, is where it could get tricky. Max Brown is much better than what his stats would tell you. Don't even look at the Charlotte tape. Just don't. I promise you, you'll get sick. And it's not just because of him. It's that offense that he was in, the supporting cast or lack thereof that he had just wasn't a good fit whatsoever. You pop on some of the stuff that he had at Florida, you see signs. And I was a young Max Brown. So there are things there to like about Max Brown too. He also has the experience. He's been in college systems. He's seen a lot of things. He's been through a lot of adversity. That checks a lot of boxes for Rich Rod. But with Khalil, he's got some of that wow factor to him. He can do a lot of things that make you go, damn, like, he's got that playmaking ability both with his arm and his legs. And it would not shock me to see him become the third quarterback in this group. It would not shock me if he was the number two guy. It would shock me if he won the job. And I don't know that he's going to be QB2 right away, but I think he could play himself into it. I really do. Over the course of the season, I think that's a legitimate goal for him to reach. But it's going to come down, and like I've said many times before, and I think everyone watching probably already knows this too. Like it is going to come down to the three veterans, no matter what Rich Rod, says and how long he keeps this wide open. It's probably going to come down to those three guys because they've seen a lot. They've been through the ringer. But the fact that you have five quarterbacks that each bring something to the table, well, that to me is the bigger story than who's going to be the starting quarterback against Robert Morris. Because in reality, no one cares who's going to start against Robert Morris. That doesn't mean anything. They could play 2, 3, 4. Hell, they may play 5 quarterbacks against Robert Morris if the thing gets really ugly, which it should. What matters is having depth in that room, reliable depth. That is not something that this team, this program has had in several years. Another reason why it's important to have that depth, not just because of the injuries possibility or the injury side of this, but say you do throw, let's just use this as an example. Say Nicco wins the starting job. He's the guy that's been here. He's shown some flashes. He's won some games as a starter. He wins the job. Goes out against Robert Morris, does okay. Jaylen Henderson flashes when he gets his opportunity against Bobby Moe. And then in week 2, for some reason, Nicco just does not play well. This is all hypothetically speaking, of course. But say he doesn't play well. Jaylen comes in, right? Not looking good. You're turning wheels. You're trying to find a way to get an answer at the quarterback position. They're going to need a third guy to be ready. Whether that's because of injury or performance or both, they need at least 3 quarterbacks to be ready. Not every team needs 3. This one does because you have so much newness to the offense. You have so much unfamiliarity. There's a lack of chemistry everywhere. You need 3 guys that you can count on. Doesn't mean you have to play all 3. Doesn't mean you have to play 2, but you need to have 3 that are game ready and you can just plug into the offense and just scoot and go. Khalil Wilkins, this is what I'm talking about Khalil. Doesn't have to be week 1. It doesn't have to be week 2. But maybe within that first month of the season, he can start to climb and chip away and get to that number 3 spot or maybe even get to that number 2 spot. And then all of a sudden, what? He's one play away from being the guy. So that's why I say I think he's the wild card of this group. Scotty Fox, a young, very talented, very intriguing prospect that I think a lot of fans are going to like. There's a lot there to work with. I just think right now it's just not going to happen. Khalil Wilkins is the wild card. Can he make up that, or can he close that gap between he and whoever ends up being number 1 or number 2? And obviously number 3, unless he is the third guy. But he's the wild card. Because if he can come along and make plays and that quarterback or two that get into the games ahead of him struggle, Khalil Wilkins might be the guy that's going to have to see, or who they turn to see what they have in him. Can he be the guy that fixes things? You hope it doesn't get to that point, or you hope that Khalil is just the guy and we're way all wrong because nobody's predicting Khalil Wilkins to win this starting job. It's either Nicco or Jaylen. There's not even very many. I don't even think anybody has predicted Max Brown to win this thing. I think everyone just assumed, myself included, he's QB3, and that's okay. But can we get a surprise? I'm not ruling it out. Again, it doesn't matter who's going to start against Robert Morris. Just erase that from your minds. That does not matter. There will be 2 to 3 or more quarterbacks playing in that game. And if there's not, trying to figure out who's going to be the starting quarterback is not going to be the only talking point coming out of that game against Robert Morris. There's going to be bigger issues at hand, which the quarterback play, I'm assuming, would be one of them if that's the case. But 5-man quarterback battle, yes and no. That's the answer for me. Yes and no. There is one, because until those reps dwindle, it's inevitable. It will happen. Are there 5 guys that have a legitimate shot to win the job? No, I don't think so. I think there's 4. In all likelihood, probably 2. But it's not Nicco versus Jaylen. It's not Nicco versus Max Brown. It's not Nicco, Jaylen, and Max Brown. Right now, there are 5. And to me, that alone, along with the quote that Rich Rod said earlier, which we heard in the beginning of the episode, that means more than, again, who's going to be starting in week 1, because you have to have that depth. That's what matters. So we'll see how this thing unfolds. I think we're going to get some clarity. Well, I shouldn't say clarity, but I think the coaching staff will probably get that clarity. I don't know that they'll share that publicly with us. But another scrimmage coming up on Saturday, that should, now that you would have 2 big-time, game-like simulated evaluations under the belt, you're getting closer to school starting. You should start to see, at least from the coaching staff's perspective, who those top 2 or 3 guys are going to be. We may not know until August 30th. That's just the way it is. But we'll see. Let me know who you guys think will win the starting quarterback job here in the comments section on YouTube. How many do you think actually have a chance? Be real. Take some of the bias out of it. I know some of you are Nicco Marchiol diehards or Jaylen Henderson diehards, and it's one side versus the other. But in all honesty, how many of these quarterbacks do you truly believe have a chance to earn that QB1 tag? Maybe not by August 30th, but for the course of the season, how many do you think start? Let's go with that. So that's going to do it for me here today on Between Ears. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe button here on our YouTube page at West Virginia on SI. You can follow me on X at Callahan_, and we'll be back for another episode tomorrow on Between Ears.